Most people feel stuck because they believe the limits around them are real. They see obstacles as permanent walls. But the truth is, your biggest barrier is not outside of you, it's inside of you. And until you conquer that inner prison, your dreams will remain just wishes. You were not born to live an average life. You were born to break limits and to build dreams. Today, I want to take you into the darkest lessons of power, lessons that transform ordinary people into leaders and dreamers into achievers. Listen to me carefully. Every limit you see in your life right now is not as real as you think it is. Most of the time, the walls that stop you are not built by society, not built by your family, not even built by your enemies. They are built in your own mind. The greatest prison in the world is not made of bars, it is made of thoughts. A man can live in a palace and still be trapped if his mind is chained by fear, by doubt, and by small thinking. And a man can live in the poorest conditions and still be free if his mind believes that nothing can stop him. That's why I always tell people your thoughts are either your passport to the future or they are the chains that hold you in the past. If you tell yourself, I can't do it, that voice becomes your master. If you keep repeating, this is too hard, this is impossible, nobody in my family has ever achieved this, then you are building walls with your own words. And the sad reality is, many people never leave the cage because they don't realize the door was never locked. I want you to think about an elephant in the circus. When that elephant was young, they tied a rope around its leg and fastened it to a small wooden stake. The little elephant tried to break free, but the rope held it back, so eventually it gave up. Years later, that same elephant has grown into one of the strongest animals on the planet. With one move, it could rip that stake out of the ground, but it never tries, because in its mind, it still believes the rope is stronger than it is. The elephant's limit is not the rope, it's the memory of failure. And many of you are living like that elephant. You have the strength, you have the capacity, you have the ability, but the memory of past failures, the words people spoke over you, the fear you've carried in your mind, those things have become your rope. But here's the truth, your mind is the only place where limits live. Break it there and you will break it everywhere. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That means your reality is created in your thinking. If you think small, you live small. If you think average, you live average. If you think impossible, you live defeated. But if you change that thought and you begin to see yourself the way God sees you, suddenly the walls begin to collapse. Some of you were told all your life, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not educated enough, you're not talented enough. And those words became bricks in your mind. You started building a house of limitation with other people's opinions. And now you sit inside it, afraid to step out. But let me remind you of something. No human being has the authority to define your limit. People didn't create you, so they can't decide your capacity. The only one who knows your true potential is the one who made you. That means when you agree with someone who says you can't, you are actually insulting the Creator who gave you the gift. Think about it. Every invention, every breakthrough, every dream that changed the world came from somebody who refused to believe in limits. The Wright brothers were told man would never fly. Thomas Edison was told he was too dumb to create anything. Nelson Mandela was told he would never be free. Martin Luther King Jr. was told equality was impossible. Yet all of them understood one thing: limits are only real if you accept them. The danger is that when you live with limits in your mind, you stop even trying, you stop reaching, you stop dreaming, you stop moving. You convince yourself that this is all life has for you. And that, my friend, is how destiny dies, not because it was stolen, but because it was surrendered. You surrendered it to the lies in your head. But hear me today, no wall can hold you if your mind refuses to stay trapped. No rope can keep you if your spirit decides to move. Once you see the prison for what it is, a lie, you will realize the only thing standing between you and your dream is the belief that you cannot. And when you break that belief, the impossible suddenly becomes possible. That is why I tell you again, every limit is self-created. Destroy it in your thinking, and your life will never be the same. Let me tell you something powerful. Your dream is not a random thought. It is not just an idea that appeared in your mind because you were bored or because you wanted more out of life. Your dream is evidence of a divine deposit. It is God's way of showing you why you are here. A dream is proof of purpose, and purpose is heaven's assignment for your life. Now, many people live their entire existence thinking their dreams are too big, too unrealistic, too far from where they are. They say, maybe this is just my imagination. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I'm not worthy of this dream. But listen carefully, if the dream was too big for you, you would not have been able to see it. God never allows you to dream something that He has not already equipped you to achieve. The very fact that you can imagine it is proof that somewhere in you lies the ability to manifest it. When a manufacturer designs a product, every detail is placed inside before it leaves the factory. A car is built with everything it needs to function. The manual that comes with it simply explains what the car can already do. In the same way, when God created you, He placed inside you the gifts, the talents, the potential, the strength, and the resources necessary to fulfill the dream He gave you. Your dream is your manual. It tells you what you were designed to do. But here's the tragedy: most people bury their dreams. They silence them because of fear. They abandon them because of criticism. They dismiss them because of failure. And they spend their lives chasing security instead of pursuing destiny. But security will never satisfy you. You can earn a salary, you can build a routine, you can even live a comfortable life, but inside your spirit will always cry out for the dream. Why? Because the dream is the seed of your assignment. Until it is fulfilled, you will never feel whole. I want you to hear this carefully. Your dream is not just about you. It is about the generation waiting on you. Every dream carries responsibility. Every dream carries lives connected to it. When you fail to pursue your dream, you don't just disappoint yourself, you rob the world of what you were born to give. That business you're afraid to start, that book you never wrote, that song you never sang, that invention you never created, those were not just ideas, they were solutions for somebody else's problem. And when you silence your dream, the world remains hungry because you refuse to serve your gift. That is why the dream keeps coming back. Even when you try to ignore it, even when you try to drown it in distractions, deep down you know there is something more. Some of you can't sleep at night because the dream keeps calling your name. It is heaven's reminder that you were born for greater things. Now let's be honest, dreams scare us. And they should. If your dream doesn't intimidate you, then it's probably not from God, because real dreams always require you to become more than you are right now. They stretch you, they push you beyond your comfort zone, force you to depend on faith, not just your ability. That is why you feel unqualified. That is why you feel unprepared. But let me remind you, God never calls the qualified. He qualifies the called. The dream itself is His way of telling you, I've placed this inside of you. Now trust me to bring it out. Think about Joseph in the Bible. As a teenager, he dreamed of leadership, of influence, of greatness. But his reality was betrayal, slavery, and prison. His dream looked like a joke. Yet every step, even the darkest ones, was preparing him for the throne. Because a dream does not lie. A dream may tarry, it may be delayed, but it will always come to pass if you refuse to quit. And this is why you cannot ignore the dream, because it is not wishful thinking, it is heaven's deposit. It is not just ambition, it is assignment. When you recognize that your dream is a calling, you stop treating it casually. You stop letting fear dismiss it. You stop letting people talk you out of it. Because now you understand, this dream is not optional, it is essential. It is my contribution to history. It is my gift to humanity. It is my obedience to God. So the question is not, do I have a dream? The real question is, am I brave enough to believe that my dream is possible? Because once you believe, once you embrace it as heaven's deposit, nothing can stop you. You may face delays, you may face rejection, you may face betrayal, but the dream will keep pushing you. And the only way to silence it is to fulfill it. Pressure, it is the one thing every single person tries to avoid, and yet it is the very thing that produces greatness. Most of us want life to be easy, comfortable, smooth, without resistance. But hear me today, nothing of value is ever produced in comfort. It is the dark places, the crushing places, the painful places that reveal the power hidden inside of you. Look at a diamond. Before it shines on the finger, before it sparkles in the light, it begins as a piece of coal, a dark, ordinary, unattractive rock. What transforms coal into a diamond? Not comfort, not easy, it is pressure. The weight of the earth presses on it for years, shaping it, molding it, forcing out its beauty. Without pressure, there would be no diamond. And the same is true for you. Without the pressure, you would remain ordinary. Without the crushing, your greatness would remain hidden. Some of you are wondering why your life feels heavy. Why does it feel like you are being pressed from every side? Why are you going through trials that seem unbearable? And you keep asking, why me? Why now? Why this? But what if the pressure is not to destroy you, but to develop you? What if the very thing you are praying away is the tool God is using to build the strength you will need for your assignment? Consider an olive. By itself, it is just a fruit, but the oil, the valuable, precious oil, does not come out until the olive is crushed. And once the oil flows, it can light lamps, it can heal wounds, it can anoint kings. The crushing releases the power. And in your life, the crushing seasons are where your anointing is released. That is why some of your most powerful lessons come from your darkest hours. Because it is only when you are pressed that your real strength, your real gift, your real purpose is revealed. Think about it. Every leader, every world changer, every history maker has a story of pressure. Moses was pressed by rejection and exile before he could lead a nation. David was pressed by battles and betrayal before he could wear the crown. Jesus himself was pressed in the Garden of Gethsemane. The very word means oil press. Before he released salvation to the world, you cannot escape it. Pressure is part of the process. And if you resist it, you resist the very thing designed to unlock your destiny. Now, pressure doesn't feel good. Nobody enjoys the weight. Nobody celebrates the sleepless nights, the disappointments, the betrayals, the failures. But hear me, pressure is not punishment. Pressure is preparation. You are being prepared for something greater than where you are now. And the fact that the pressure is so heavy is proof that what's inside of you is so valuable. Nobody wastes time pressing something empty. If you are under pressure, it's because heaven knows there is treasure in you. But here is the problem. Most people quit under pressure. They give up when it gets heavy. They break down before the breakthrough. And they never see the beauty on the other side because they ran from the very thing that was creating it. Pressure is not your enemy. Quitting is your enemy. Pressure is not the thief of dreams. Giving up is the thief of dreams. If you hold on, if you endure, if you trust the process, the same pressure that feels like it's killing you will end up being the reason you live in power. Look at the eagle. When it teaches its young to fly, it makes the nest uncomfortable. It removes the soft feathers and exposes the thorns. Why? Because without discomfort, the eaglet would never spread its wings. The pressure of the nest forces it to rise, to discover it was born to soar. And in the same way, sometimes God removes your comfort so that you can realize you were never meant to crawl. You were created to fly. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Begin to ask, what is this producing in me? Because every weight is building muscle. Every storm is teaching endurance. Every dark night is creating a deeper strength in your spirit. Pressure is not the end of you. It is the birth of you. You are stronger than you think. You are greater than you know. And the very things you thought would destroy you are the things that will define you. So I want you to look at your struggle differently. Look at your hardship differently. Look at your crushing differently. Because in every ounce of pressure, there is hidden power. And that power is waiting to be revealed through you. Power. The world talks about it as if it is measured by how much money you have, how many followers you gather, how much influence you can display. But let me tell you the truth. Real power is not found in possessions, positions, or popularity. True power is found only in purpose. Because purpose is the one thing that cannot be bought, cannot be stolen, cannot be taken away. Purpose is the reason you exist. And when you discover it, you tap into a source of strength that nothing and no one can shut down. See, tragedy of life is not death. The tragedy of life is to live your years on earth without ever knowing why you were born. You can have degrees, you can have titles, you can climb ladders, you can even succeed in the eyes of men. But if you never fulfill your purpose, you will always feel empty. Because success without purpose is just achievement without meaning. You were not created just to survive, just to pay bills, just to work, just to retire. You were created to fulfill an assignment that only you can do. And here is the secret. When you know your purpose, you become unstoppable. Why? Because purpose gives you focus. Purpose gives you direction. Purpose makes you resilient. People who don't know their purpose are easily distracted. They chase everything and accomplish nothing. They live by comparison, always measuring themselves against others, always feeling behind. But the moment you discover your purpose, you no longer live by competition. You no longer ask, am I better than them? Instead, you ask, am I being true to what I was born to do? Think of Jesus at 12 years old. When his parents found him in the temple, he looked at them and said, did you not know I must be about my Father's business? That is the purpose. It is the clarity to know why you are here. even when others don't understand you. And when you have that clarity, you don't waste time, you don't waste energy, you don't waste life. Because every decision is measured by whether it pushes you closer to fulfilling your assignment. That is why purpose is more powerful than pain. Purpose is more powerful than fear. Purpose is more powerful than rejection. When you know your purpose, you can endure things that would have broken you otherwise. Paul said, "I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling." That was his purpose. And because of it, he could survive prison, beatings, shipwrecks, betrayal, things that would have crushed a man without vision. Purpose kept him alive. Look around you. People who live without purpose are the ones who give up the fastest. They crumble under pressure. They quit when life gets hard. Why? Because they have no why to anchor them. But when you have a reason, you can handle almost any how. When you know the reason behind your life, the obstacles become stepping stones instead of stopping points. You don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You say, "This must be part of my preparation. This must be shaping me for what I was born to do." That's why I tell you, don't confuse activity with destiny. Just because you are busy doesn't mean you are productive. Just because you are moving doesn't mean you are advancing. Many people spend their whole life climbing a ladder only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. That is what happens when you chase success without purpose. You may reach the top, but you will still feel unfulfilled because the top of the wrong wall is still the wrong place. Purpose, on the other hand, is fulfilling. When you live on purpose, you may not always have applause, but you will always have peace. You may not always be understood, but you will always be anchored. You may not always be celebrated, but you will always be significant. Because purpose doesn't need permission from men. It carries validation from God. And here's the beautiful thing. Purpose is not something you create. It is something you discover. It was there before you were born. Jeremiah says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That means your existence is not an accident. Your birth is proof that something needed to be done on this earth that required your presence. You are not a mistake. You are not random. You are intentional. So the real power in life is not what you accumulate, but what you accomplish in alignment with why you were born. Because money can fade, positions can be taken, people can walk away, but purpose remains. And when you live in it, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not failure, not opposition, not even death. Because purpose is stronger than all of them. Know you see it. Limits are not around you. They are inside you. Your dream is not fantasy, it is heaven's deposit, God's evidence that you were born for more. The pressure you feel is not to destroy you, it is to release the power hidden within you. And the true measure of your life is not success, not wealth, not applause, it is purpose. Because purpose is the reason you were sent to this planet, and until you find it, nothing else will satisfy you. So I challenge you today, stop living small, stop hiding in fear, stop waiting for the perfect time. Break the limits in your mind, believe in the dream God gave you, embrace the pressure that is shaping you, and above all, anchor your life in your purpose. Because when you do, nothing can stop you. You will not just survive, you will break limits and you will build dreams. That is the power of a life fully lived.